2013-0026. The parish president remarks. Mr. St. Pierre.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Before I get started, I'd like to recognize Mr. David Colwell with Senator Cassidy's office. David here, right over here. Appreciate you coming. I was with Senator Cassidy over the weekend, and he attended our River Parish breakfast and gave us some very nice comments. Okay, the St. Charles Parish Public Information Office has released a new brochure containing information on the ways members of the public can get engaged in the local political process. Get involved. Features instructions on registering to vote, contacting elected officials, attending public meetings, staying up to date on local government happenings, and more. The publication also lists the proper procedures for getting on the parish council meeting agenda to speak and give an overview of laws and regulations for requesting public records. The back panel of the brochure lists out a map of our 13 parish government buildings across the parish. The brochure is available on the first floor of the lobby of the St. Charles Parish Courthouse in Hornville, and will soon be available at the St. Charles Parish Library branches. It may also be downloaded on the parish website. Our annual trash bash for the spring of 2013 is set for the morning of March the 23rd. If you're interested in volunteering, visit www.scptrashbash.org to sign up, or call 985-331-0604. We will be having an after the celebration with food, music, and more at the West Bank Bridge Park. It's a great way for students to gain service hours while helping beautify our parish. We hope everyone to come out. This is, we like to get everybody, as many people as we can, to come out. If you can't come out, try to do something that week in your own subdivision that can kind of dress up the parish, and come out and enjoy some good food and music after the event. Kids really like it. I think they give them all a t-shirt, and they come out and have a great time. Last meeting, I met with Mike Stack with DOT to discuss some projects with him. One of the projects that we're talking about with the completion of the community center, the satellite center being existing, the sheriff's department existing, the school board maintenance building existing, and the animal shelter. If there's ever an accident on that railroad track, there's no way to get the kids or anybody out of there. So what we talking to Mike about, and he was very receptive, is having an exit off of Edward Dufresne Boulevard Parkway going out to I-310. You'd be able to exit out of the subdivision, but you wouldn't be able to come into it. So that would give a way for to get the kids out of there if anything would ever happen. Another project that we got a RPC involved in is the flyover at Highway 90 coming west to east. As you have to get over in the turn lane now, it's always blocked up. You got to wait for 3 or 4 traffic lights. Well, they're doing an environmental study right now where you're gonna come off Highway 90 and you're gonna go over flyover. You won't have to get in that turn lane anymore. You can go straight over and get on I-310. The other project that we're hoping that we can see some action on, maybe at the end of this year and the beginning of next year, is the Willdale extension, which will come out Willdale Boulevard, parallel Highway 90 up to maybe about 300 yards from Davis Diversion, fly over the Highway 90. You can go down who's that land for? LeVare Land Company. Elevate over the railroad track, back to ground level, and all the way to Highway 61. That would be a trade-off. We're going to accept Barton Avenue, and they would maintain the Willdale extension of Willdale Boulevard. It's about a $17 million project, and RPC is going to fund the majority of it. We also, if you notice in Jefferson Parish at Lapalco and Highway 90, all around the parish, they're putting out these big ceramic flower pots and stuff, kind of planting little flowers and stuff. I was going to my camp last week, and I think it's a pretty good idea, so I think we're going to start doing that where the 2 bridges are at and some of the major subdivisions. Mike said it's okay as long as we don't obstruct the view coming out of a subdivision or something, as long as something real low where people can see over. So you're going to start seeing these things going up around the parish. When are you in charge of water them every day? We had our River Parish breakfast this weekend in Washington, D.C. It even snowed. It was a beautiful sight. With all our congressmen and senators were there, and naturally we talked about the funding for the West Bank Hurricane Protection Levy, and Mayor Landrieu said something that was very interesting, and 1947, when they first started drilling off the Louisiana coast in Plaquemine Parish. At that time, President Truman made an offer to Leander Perez to give him 37% of the offshore revenues, and Leander Perez didn't want it. He wanted it all or nothing. And since that time, the state of Louisiana has not been receiving one penny. Just think of what that amount of revenue would have did for the state of Louisiana. In 2014, we will start getting 37% of the revenues, but Mayor Landrieu said right now there's $6 million a year generated from offshore revenues, and then it goes to no states that the coastal states. They all go to inland people. Like she gave an example, like the state of Montana, they get $500 million a year, and they can spend it on ski lifts, enhancing ranches and everything. When we get our money, it's got to be dedicated to coastal restoration. So she's trying to change that right now, but that's a lot of money we've been losing since 1947. The other project that we also talked about was the West Shore project, which would save our Munch area. We've been trying to get out levies for years, so I'm sure this is in the workings, but they are encouraged. They think they're going to have a word of bill this year, and if we get a word of bill, there's a possibility that we could get some funding. Also, the importance of I-49 going through our parish. So that's the three projects we talked to them about. One of the things, I don't know if you've been keeping up with, I'm very concerned. We had a meeting with all the parish officials last week, and our senator and our state representative is this inventory tax. If the inventory tax goes away, we can lose $28 million. The school board's gonna lose $10 million. The sheriff's gonna lose $8 million. We can lose $7 million. The recreation's gonna lose some. The fire department's gonna lose some. Street lighting's gonna lose some. So it's kind of up in the air right now. We're having another meeting with all the business and industry on February the 7th with the school board. Nothing's definitely in writing yet, so we don't know if the inventory tax goes away and he imposes a 4-cent sales tax. Will that 4-cent sales tax generate enough money to overcome this $23 million? So that's something we got to watch very closely, and I'm going to need your help with that probably during the legislative session. I'd like to congratulate Ed Reed, who's a pedestrian boy, also made All-Pro, and also DeWine Landry from Hornville, who made All-Pro, and of course we know Ed Reed's team won the Super Bowl. And I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but ESPN did a special on St. Charles Parish. St. Charles Parish is rated the #1 per capita parish in the whole United States for pro athletes. We have more pro athletes from St. Charles Parish than anywhere else in the United States. And they're thinking it's because of the amount of water, the type of water that we're making. They went to the waterworks and actually did a segment on the water that we're drinking. So, Robbie, whatever you do, putting in that water, keep putting it. And that concludes my report, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.